Now here it is, Liberty Call.
My name's Paul. I've been volunteering here almost 18 years. Probably the news. I've always liked military history, and so if a story like that pops up, it catches your interest. Um, yeah, so that would probably be the first time I heard of it. A friend of a friend brought me down outside of a tour when he found out I was interested. We wandered around a genuine World War II warship, and he said if you volunteer, you can play on it every weekend. So that's a pretty cool thing. So that convinced me. Probably meeting some of the old vets. You get unbelievable stories. That's got to be the biggest thing I would think. Just the stories they tell. That it used to be really fun when we fired the guns. Trying to think of some other things, but there's a lot of little things that all kind of add up. You're always learning stuff. You're always hearing stories. Besides the vets, I guess also seeing the kids when they get all worked up, yeah, and they see something special and their eyes open up. That's kind of neat. So, tons. I really knew nothing about its power plant or the power plants of other destroyer escorts. Knew just a little bit about armaments, but learned a lot more since volunteering here. Learned a ton about radars, radios, just daily life at sea during World War II, especially. So, just about any aspect of it, there's always something to learn. So, I don't know about a favorite. They're kind of the same thing. They're all a little bit interesting for different reasons. Things that go bang are always the biggest appeal for military stuff. That's kind of the essence of the military. So, the guns are always kind of interesting, but there are also all those other things that, might be the first time you're finding out about it or learning more about, and that can really pique your interest. I've had family members that served. The only one that was in the Navy was a warrant officer in the Naval Reserve. Most were in the Army Air Force. And then we actually had a couple of relatives that didn't serve because they were actually working at Curtiss Wright, making airplanes in Buffalo. So, a nice one from an old volunteer that's since passed, Les Beauchesne. He was a signalman, and we were given a tours when I was first starting. So you kind of shadow tour guides and learn from them, from what they say. And at the time in the wardroom, they had a little framed communication. It was actually either a mimeograph or a carbon copy, I think, maybe. And it announced a very big, important thing. It's been almost 2 decades. I don't know if it was the end of the war or the death of Roosevelt. But there was a little kid in the tour as we were giving the tour. And Les pointed at that and said, "Now, do you notice anything special about this piece of paper?" And the little kid looks at it and he's reading, and he looks up at Les and kind of shakes his head, and Les pointed at the name of who wrote down that message, and it was Les Beauchesne. And then the kid looked up at Les, still with a puzzled look, and then Les pointed at his name tag. And the kid looked at the name tag and looked down at the transmission and looked up at the last, looked back, and that was one of those occasions where his eyes went, "Holy cow!" And it was his touchstone to World War II, was this old guy giving the tour, and it was just really cool. Yeah, I think so. Yeah, it's been a long time. A lot of really good guys have volunteered here. So yeah, definitely. I think there's besides just their knowledge and skills, they're funny, good guys to hang out with. So a good line is you get to play a World War II warship. I think that's why we get parents for the overnights with the scouts. We get often just as many parents because it's kind of neat sleeping on a World War II warship. If they volunteer, they get to come down here and it's hands-on. It's not just wandering around in a tour and looking at stuff. They're cleaning stuff, taking stuff apart, putting it back together, restoring things, and they're contributing to actually keeping this around. But they're hands-on with a World War II artifact instead of just kind of looking at it. So for those reasons, if you like that stuff, come on down. You get to do it. They paid for the tour. If you volunteer, you get to see it more in depth and for free, and you're actually helping out. So why not?